Good morning, y'all. It's Joe. We're back under the shade tree, and we're going to change things up a little bit. As you saw probably earlier this week, I posted up a video with the transmission leak and a coolant leak. And today the wind's starting to kick back up again. We're going to move to the north side of the house for a windbreak, so we can go ahead and get this, at least the transmission leak. Well, I'm going to try and get both of them done today. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to do the best I can with what I've got, and we're going to work out of the wind. So we'll see you shortly. Okay, apologies again for the wind. An hour ago it was not like this, and it's just going to get worse today. This is what 36 hours of dripping has resulted in. So yeah, we're going to fix that today. It's the dipstick tube seal. Yep, sure is. It's that doggone dipstick tube. And I'm going to show you what the plan is. And obviously I did not fix the coolant leak yet, because all of that is coolant that's dripped off the backside from the motor, having crept back from the front. So here we go. Okay, and today, instead of being under the shade tree, we are on the windbreak side of things. Back in the day, 20-some years ago, there used to be a carport here, and it extended out, and I could have parked, well, I used to park Ethel underneath before the carport disappeared. One spring night we had straight line winds that came through here at over 100 miles an hour, and it literally ripped the carport out of the ground and flung it over the house and out into the neighbor's pasture and barn. Now, if you look back over there, that nice shiny new panel on the east side of the barn, that's where half of the carport hit. The other half ended up out in the pasture. Okay, one of the other things I never did like was the orientation of the dipstick tube under the hood of Ethel up by the firewall. It's just kind of a tight squeeze. And part of that is because I moved the motor and transmission back 3 inches. What I've got going on is this low-car flexible dipstick tube, but it also has this positive seal right here. So instead of just plugging in from the top and the dipstick holding pressure against the transmission case by being bolted to the back of the engine block, this actually threads on and acts as a nut to go ahead and pull this seal down tight into the transmission case. It doesn't take much. We're talking like 12 inch-pounds. So there have been some reviews on this. People were complaining, saying, it broke immediately. Well, if you only go to 12 inch-pounds, that's not going to break off. So anyway, we're going to get that installed. I'm not real keen on the shiny aluminum, but the reality of it is I'm after the function, not the appearance. So here we go. Okay, I want to be the first to tell you, if you haven't already figured it out, there is no easy, clean way to pop a drain pan on your transmission. It's always going to be messy if you don't have a drain plug. I'm just going for less messy, I hope. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Stand by. Need both hands. And just like that, it was off. I thought the other bolt, the last bolt, was loose, but apparently it was more than loose. So it all came off into the pan, one big splash. Well, the good news is this. The inside of the pan looks good. The fluid that came out didn't look metallic. So despite of this being an unknown transmission, it's actually apparently quite healthy. And I wasn't having issues with it not pulling in gear, so we're good there. But since I got to clean this part of the driveway off, I'm going to go ahead and clean the pan here while I'm at it. I do have a deep sub aluminum pan coming, but of course it won't be here today, and it won't be here until I go back onto my regular duty days, and the weather's going to turn to garbage. So I'm just going to work with this one. I'm going to go ahead and cheat though. This time around, I'm going to go ahead and do the local mechanic shop trick and put a self-tapping screw in for a drain plug. And at least that way, next time I go to drain it, I might be able to go ahead and recycle some of this fluid, because good gosh, we're talking $26 a gallon now. Yay. Alright, so there's the seal that was leaking. It's that O-ring right there. And you can see how it's kind of, dipstick tube's kind of tweaked just a little bit from me going ahead and manipulating it underneath the truck with a pry bar. But this is a different type of seal, so hopefully this other one seals up like it's supposed to. We're going to find out. Alrighty, so here's the deal. The pan's all nice and cleaned up. Ouch. And reinstalled. Got the dipstick tube in place here now. Ow, dang it, quit beating your head on the underneath side of the truck. So, that big shiny aluminum sucker right there is now the dipstick tube slash fill tube. I got that installed. There's no tools used to that. It's all just hand tight. Well, let's put it this way. It's inch pounds, so don't get super crazy with it. But yeah, it's nice and good and hand tight. So there's that. It should be sealed up good now. The next thing to do is go ahead and put... Alright, the next thing to do is go ahead and mount the dipstick tube to the firewall. So we can go ahead and get that squared away. And then the coolant leak, which I think is a bad hose clamp on the upper hose. And hopefully I won't have to go ahead and pull the air compressor and the upper assembly back off of it. But if I have to, well, it is what it is. It's not that difficult to do. It's just a little bit time consuming. But air conditioning's not hooked up anyway, so the air compressor, like I said before, is just a big idler pulley. So we'll figure this out here in just a quick minute. All right, so there's the dipstick tube as it stands, and I figure it's gonna go pretty much right there. I think that's gonna be a good spot for it. It's enough I can go ahead and have access to it and still be able to go ahead and fill the dipstick or the transmission without any issues. So I think that's where we're gonna drill a hole or two. Alrighty, so full disclosure, the bracket I tweaked just a little bit to go ahead and fit the standard size transmission funnel. However, with the standard size transmission funnel, you can't use a gallon jug of transmission oil to go ahead and pour into it. There's not enough room with the hood. So what I ended up doing was getting a different funnel and dumping that gallon in, and from here I'll just use a standard funnel and a regular quart bottle to make minor adjustments, but should be good. So I didn't see any puddles on the ground yet, so I guess I've got it sealed to some extent. Fingers crossed. Well, folks, I think that's going to do it for the day. I went ahead and refilled the transmission, started it up, let it warm up, topped it up, and I'm not seeing any indications of leaks. Now, when I pulled the pan off, it was tight and it was dry. So the pan gasket, or the appearance of the pan gasket leaking all this time, has been that dipstick tube seal. It's been leaking out the top of the case, and then of course, you know, transmission fluid being transmission fluid, it has a tendency to creep, and so it starts to creep down onto the flange where the oil pan or the transmission pan meets the case, and it spreads all the way around. It makes it look like the transmission pan seal or the pan gasket is leaking. And so I think that's it, fingers crossed. The other part of that is that the coolant leak, I think, is done. I looked at the front timing cover and all the places that the coolant had been collecting, and there isn't any anymore. So what was probably on the ground, or what was on the ground, is probably runoff from all of that. It finally went ahead and dissipated. So we're going to take a look and see what happens here, either later today, next couple days. If it continues to drip, I'll go ahead and disassemble the front end, take the accessories off, take that accessory bracket out, and look for another indication of a leak. But I think we're good. So we'll see. I think maybe tightening that clamp up the other day was the fix that it needed. So fingers crossed. Y'all have a good afternoon. Be safe, be careful, be good to each other. Remember, this is a community, it's not competition. Check out Robert's Garage, Roy Marco Garage. Daggone. Asian beetles, man, they're everywhere. Katarina's Garage, Ellie's Garage, everybody's got a garage but me. So Backyard Alaskan, check him out. I saw he's got some more video up now. He's already up there suffering in the snow. It's 70 something down here right now, but as you can tell, the wind's kind of blowing around. It's not me with the shakes today, blowing the camera or the cell phone around. It's actually kind of breezy out. So anyway, we'll see you next time. This is Joe.